You are invited to my Patreon. I know, not everybody can come, but you can't say you were invited. The link to my Patreon is down below, and I post a lot over there if you want extra content. But you don't want to leave this platform, you can join YouTube memberships by clicking join below, or going to my channel page and clicking the join button. That is content that is exclusive to YouTube members. Let's start with what I have been reading. And there's not a whole lot to report because I talked about Assassin's Apprentice a million times. I'm still reading that. I think I have 100 pages left. And then I did finish Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden. I ended up giving that one 3 stars. It's just a little kind of thriller about a lady that bad things keep happening to her, and so she loses it. It was not Frida McFadden's best, I don't think. It did keep me engaged, and so it was a 3-star. And then the other book that I started and finished this week was The Lamb. I can't touch it because on this one, if I touch it, it's going to go to the next page. So this is The Lamb by Lucy Rose, and it is a folk horror about a young girl whose mother is absolutely batshit. Her mother convinces her from early childhood, that they live like out somewhere in I pictured it in like the Appalachian Mountains. They live out somewhere in some like mountainous, hilly, I don't know, wilderness. And when people get lost, the mother captures them, or she has her daughter capture them, and they consume them. And she has her daughter convinced that this is the right thing to do. Which, how would the kid know any better? Now, the kid's in like 3rd grade. Her name is Margot. She goes to school with explicit instructions of like not to draw attention to herself and not to make friends. But she deeply desires to like make friends, you know? She's a kid. She wants to have friends besides her mother. But it's impossible for her not to draw attention to herself because she's weird. You know, her mother has made her weird. So she stands out. She gets bullied at school, and then she goes home and gets bullied by her mother. And one day, this lady shows up, and she's like, okay, is this a stray? Like, are we gonna eat this lady? But no. The mom forms a relationship with this lady, and then further bullies and excludes her own daughter. And it just kind of unravels from there. I also gave this one 3 stars. It just didn't hit for me, and it was extremely icky, which was the point. That was the point. I'm starting to think that maybe folk horror is not for me. And I'll get into that a little more later because I watched a movie that was folk horror as well. What have I been eating? We did go out for dinner one night, and so I got a pomodoro pasta, like tomato-y pasta, no meat, just a really simple pasta dish. And then of course tiramisu, so that was like our little date night. I cooked myself another salmon, and other than that, we've been trying to go through what we have because I'm going on vacation. I don't want to buy a bunch of groceries, so we've been tearing through our freezer foods and taquitos and, you know, just Uncrustables, stuff like that. I have not been eating very well lately, to be honest. What have I been playing? I personally have not been able to play anything because I've been busy getting ready for vacation, but my son has been playing on the DS, and he has played Tinkerbell Lost Treasure, and then he also played Fantasy Aquarium. I don't have the case for Tinkerbell because I ordered it, or I got it and it came in like a little baggie, but this is Fantasy Aquarium, and I picked this up for him, I think at like a disc replay, or maybe I ordered it used. You just build, like, you have these 5 aquariums going at once, and you're supposed to be taking care of them, right? But he just keeps adding stuff to the aquariums, and he won't let me figure out how to help him take care of the actual aquarium. aquariums. So our animals are, our pets' heads are falling off, basically. The animals are not thriving, and they're not surviving. And then it's like you can't have a shark and a dolphin, or you can't have like a shark and a porpoise together, but he doesn't care. He's 5, so he's just throwing as much as he can into a tank, right? It's whatever. They're not real. It's not animal abuse. So I'm just letting him do his thing with that. That's all as far as playing. What have I been obsessing about? My God, have you guys listened to the Karen Reed, the texts that are coming out of the Karen Reed case? She took like these cops to court because she said that the reason she was targeted was from their bigotry and stuff. And, they're reading these texts to the court, and then, the public is seeing them, and like these people should not be in any position of power. There is no way they are able to do their job with the levels of bigotry and racism that they have in their everyday texts. Like if you haven't checked it out, maybe do. And it's actually scary because, you could have people in positions of power in your own community, in your own city and state that think like this and speak like this to each other like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. I watched a couple other true crime things that have been just lingering in my head. Some of them are kind of funny, there was one, it was called, it was 2 back-to-backs about the Karens. They were calling them the Karens, and there was like one lady that was, well, it's not really funny because she was clearly impaired. I don't know on what, but she was like driving and this guy was following her, and he's like, okay, because he had a dash cam, he's like, I'm getting all this evidence and you guys can meet me. And when she stops, she like hits a car and stuff, and then they pull her over and she's like, I didn't do that. Like, what, ma'am? And she's like trying to get back into her car, and you can just tell when people have just gotten away with things their entire life. Nobody's knocked their teeth out. Nobody's arrested them. And that was the kind of attitude that these ladies had. There was another one where these 2 ladies were kicked out of a cab, and she was like slapping the cab driver, not knowing that there was cameras in the car. So when the cops show up, she's like, no, I didn't do anything. Like, I don't know why he kicked us out of the car. And they're just little snots. And they're drunk out of their freaking minds. And you can just see it that they've gotten away with everything their whole life. It is so irritating to watch that kind of behavior. Anyway, I'll probably do like a whole video on the true crimes that I've been watching, but those were like some of the lighter ones. As far as the darker ones, those are the ones that are like making me lose sleep, and that's why where the humans are. Let's gather here. And they also, there's something about like their life cycle, so they're like also lay eggs in there, which is gross, but the eggs they don't flourish, okay? It's like the plan B for their eggs. Anyway, you can put some mesh over the top so that your animals don't get into it, or like what we're gonna do is set it on the outside of our fence and put mesh on it, and that way like a squirrel doesn't fall in it or something too, you know? So we'll put those, you put them away from like where you're sitting, and that'll attract the bugs to that area instead of over by you, because it's emitting more of that carbon dioxide that they desire. That's their drug of choice, okay? So we're gonna give that a try. I think my husband's gonna put those together while we're on vacation. He's got a whole list of stuff that he's gonna do, because he's gonna be kind of bored without all of our nonsense, you know? So those are my recommendations. What have I been treating myself to? So I did get some wired headphones that fit into my iPad, which is what I film on for our trip. I wanted wired, so I got 2 pairs, one for home and then one just to take everywhere. 2 wired headphones, and then, okay, this is like the nerd in me, I guess, or this is the paranoia in me, but I did get a LifeStraw personal water filter, because you just never know, right? And sometimes I collect like little survival things. I need to get them all into one spot. Anyway, this is the LifeStraw personal water filter. Improved performance, removes 99.99999% of bacteria, E. coli, etc. Removes protozoa, giardia, or is it giard? I don't know. Cryptosporidium, etc. And it filters 4,000 liters, which is 1,000 gallons, and it meets U.S. EPA drinking water standards. For every LifeStraw product sold, a child in need will be provided with safe drinking water for an entire school year. LifeStraw goes to a good cause as well. Start using LifeStraw by uncapping both ends and standing it up in water for 10 seconds. Then take 5 quick sips from the mouthpiece. Regularly blow air through the LifeStraw after drinking to keep the filter clean and prevent clogging. Okay, and then I found this for $1. It is the Corpse Bride, like, what's it called? An illustrated story of the Corpse Bride. And it's just got like glossy, glowing pages. I could not resist this. And then there's, text. I'm gonna try to save this for Halloween time, but I don't know that I can. Look at that. Stunning. And then a little gift came in the mail, and it is like a crane, or I'm not really sure what type of bird it is. It was on my Amazon wish list because my downstairs, that front room that I did, is kind of just all black right now. It's gonna be kind of gothic, dark academia, haunted kind of, and I just thought this would go really cute in there. Go really well. Cute is not the word. The word is, it's not a cute room whatsoever, but it's like a little bird peeking behind the curtains. Ooh, I like these sounds. Alright, and then now watching. Oh wait, succeeding. Okay, I did get us packed into book bags, so me and my son are traveling in book bags only for our week in Florida. My son is practicing carrying his because it is awfully heavy for a little body. What does he weigh? I don't know, 45 pounds or something. Or maybe, I don't remember. Anyway, the bag it looks about half his size. So he's been practicing around the house carrying it. It will get maybe lighter as we go. I don't know. There's some stuff in there that's like the snacks and stuff that are disposable, or we'll be eating them on the plane. I don't know. It should get a little lighter, but not by much. And then I did delete my Instagram. I just finish it. Yeah, we finished it. We watched the last one 2 days ago. Okay. It did end a little. We were kind of like, that was a little bit whack of an ending at the end of season 2. If you've never watched Your Friends and Neighbors before, it is about a guy who he's like wealthy. He's got a wife and 2 kids. His wife ends up cheating on him. He loses his job. Like, things are just down and out, and so he starts stealing from his wealthy neighbors. And they have things that cost ungodly, like a pen that's $30,000, a baseball card that's $300,000, like just. So he starts stealing from them to stay afloat, and of course that gets him entangled in a web of danger. I also finished Interview with the Vampire on Netflix, and that was 5 stars. Your Friends and Neighbors 4 stars, because it gets a little like whack sometimes. It's still really enjoyable, but there's just like some plot holes and some stuff that's like, yeah, right. Interview with the Vampire 5 stars. It's basically based on the Anne Rice books of Interview with the Vampire. It goes back to Louis, how he got turned into a vampire, and then like the relationships that he had with Lestat and then Armand, and their like pseudo daughter. It's excellent. And then now I think, like, when you guys see this, because I think it came out. No, I think it's already out. It's not a spin-off. It's like season 3, but it's not called Interview with the Vampire anymore because their next books were called other things. So it's gonna be called The Vampire Lestat, which is about the vampire that turned Louis into a vampire. So it's like his full story now, I believe. And then I watched Rabbit Trap, which was the other folk horror that I added to my list this month or this week, and I did not enjoy it. It was Dev Patel and I'm not sure what her first name is, Rosie or Rosa McEwen, and it's about them. They're like they make music, and they go off to live in like this cottage in the moors or something, and they record something they're not supposed to record, like some forbidden sound, and it attracts this boy to keep coming to their house, and then they lose touch with reality, and so you're watching, you don't even know what you're watching. I don't know. I gave it 2.5 stars, I think, or 2 stars. I watched The Heat with Sandra Bullock and why am I blanking out? Anyway, the beautiful Miss McCarthy. And of course that's excellent. I've watched it 100 times probably, but they're 2 like cops that have to work together on this case, and McCarthy's the local cop, and Sandra Bullock plays the FBI special agent, and they have 2 different ways of going about things, and so they're butting heads all the time, but then they do form like a bond. But it is hilarious. It never fails to make me laugh out loud. And if you're laughing out loud by yourself on the couch, it's actually funny, And then we had a night in the basement when it was really, really hot out. We spent the evening in the basement where it was really cool and crisp, and we watched Pout Pout Fish, because that's on Amazon Prime now. It was okay. I personally don't think it was anything to write home about. It was just okay, but it was really cute. And then we watched One Battle After Another, which I know I'm the odd one out, but man, that was a task. That was grueling. That absolutely felt as long as it was. It's basically about Leonardo DiCaprio's character, him and his girlfriend at the time when they're like younger, they were revolutionaries. And then they had a daughter, and it's Teyana Taylor, and I do not like Teyana Taylor. I don't like anything that she does or that she's in. I don't think she's a good actress. Anyway, he has a baby with Teyana Taylor, so she's really only in the first like 30 minutes of the movie. She ends up running off. She can't handle being like a mom. She's too wild and stuff, so she runs off. Ends up getting caught down the road, and then kind of selling out her family, their names, where they're at, blah blah blah. So he has to take his daughter on the run, right? And they're doing good for a while, but eventually I'll leave it at that. I did not enjoy it that much. My husband liked it, and another thing that killed me with that movie is they played music over like